Hello everyone. Today I thought I'd do a little video taking you through my camera collection. This camera collection has been building for almost 10 years now, so yeah, I thought I'd take you on a little tour. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Riona, your resident creative hobbyist and memory keeper, and without further ado, let's get into it. The first camera I wanted to talk to you about is my pride and joy, my one and only Fujifilm X-T50. I bought this in Japan back in October 2024. I bought this from the Yodobashi Camera, the branch in Akihabara, which is in Tokyo. I went in knowing that I wanted a Fujifilm camera. I didn't know which Fujifilm camera I wanted, but I knew I wanted a Fujifilm camera. So I went in and I asked this poor Japanese man so many questions and took up so much of his time, but he was really accommodating to answering all my questions about camera bodies and lenses. And this was quite a new model at the time, and I saw it and I was like, ooh, I've never seen this before, and I just love it. I love the build quality. I especially love the design of Fujifilm cameras. Like, they just embrace that kind of retro film aesthetic so nicely. I especially love the silver elements, and on this camera there's a pop-out flash. It's so satisfying to hear it pop out, and then you just pop it back like this. The build quality is so sturdy. It has been through a lot. It's essentially around my neck at all times when I'm out and about. I've put her through a lot, but she has managed to withstand all my adventures outside. I ended up going with the 15 to 45mm kit lens. It's a decently versatile zoom lens and it doesn't sacrifice on portability, which is why I went for it. I've been enjoying using it. I would definitely like to add a couple of prime lenses to my collection. Definitely am eyeing up the 27mm pancake lens from Fujifilm. I think that would be a cool addition to my setup, and it would definitely make this even more portable. Obviously, since it's a Fujifilm camera, the image quality is stunning. The photos straight out of the camera look amazing. I love how high quality the photos are without sacrificing that film-like aesthetic. Even without applying any Fujifilm simulation, the camera produces such beautiful images. If you don't know what a Fujifilm simulation is, it's basically like a customizable filter that you can program into Fujifilm cameras. There are lots of little settings that you can tweak. They're essentially made to mimic the look of different film stocks from back in the day. I love how creative you can be with film simulations. I never really played around much with film simulations until recently. I've been really enjoying it. I found a couple of film simulations on Instagram. There's this one called Wonderlight, which I really have been enjoying using lately. It's just fun to have this with me at all times, taking photos of everything and anything. Yeah, I'm excited to carry on using this camera and maybe adding more lenses to my collection one day. Okay, so for the next camera in my collection, I can't show it to you because it's the one I'm filming on right now. It is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. You've probably heard of this camera. It's really big right now, and it has been for a while. It's basically the quintessential vlogger camera of this era. Obviously, I love the form factor. I love that it's so small and it's very discreet for filming in public. It's basically been marketed as a shy vlogger camera, and I do agree that it is great for people who want to start out with vlogging and don't want to invest in a huge setup. It's a lot more affordable than other cameras as well. It was only about £500. I bought it in Japan, so it was tax-free, but I think I got it in the creator combo for around somewhere between £400 and £500. Yeah, it's a good price for what you get, and it is very versatile. It's a very convenient camera. Like, I call it my convenient camera because it is built to just help you capture content with as little friction as possible. So yeah, that's something I love about it. I think it's amazing that it can capture 4K quality footage with only a 1-inch sensor. I also have a magnetic case on it. That is really great for getting unique shots without having to put in much effort to setting up the shot. I've managed to get cool top-down shots and fly-on-the-wall type shots, and yeah, it's really convenient in that way as well. Definitely recommend getting a magnetic case for this camera. My favorite feature of this camera has to be the tilt lock option. Basically what that does is it keeps the horizon line level when you're filming, so you never have to worry about having wonky footage, which is really great because it is a gimbal camera, so it can snap in place, and I think it's really satisfying to see and also very convenient for me when I'm filming. Again, it's very quick, on the go, easy. I have to say, if you film in D-Log-M and you color grade the footage with Dehancer, that is a killer combo, okay? A couple of downsides to this camera. Obviously, the build quality is not going to be as good as my Fujifilm camera. It's still quite sturdy, but I do find that when the gimbal kind of snaps in place, when it's in rest mode, it can it's not strong enough, basically. I wish that it would stay in place more sturdily. It does have a case for the camera, which kind of mitigates that issue, but I don't really like to use the case. I've got a magnetic case on the camera already, so I can't use the case that came with it. Another issue is I really don't like how difficult and kind of flimsy and faffy it is to put on ND filters onto this camera. I think one of the things about this camera is that you have to learn how to use the settings to your advantage. So I like to shoot in D-Log-M, I like to shoot 30 frames per second with 1/60 shutter speed, using the 180-degree rule to capture motion blur in the way that I like it to look. The motion blur just looks more lifelike that way, and it kind of mimics the way that your eye perceives motion blur. Once you've learned all that and you want to apply those settings to your camera, it's not impossible, but it is a little bit more finicky because then you have to use ND filters when you're filming in bright lighting conditions. Luckily for me, the UK is very dim, so I don't actually have to use an ND filter a lot of the time, but if I'm out in the bright sunlight, I have to use an ND filter, and it is kind of finicky to put it on because you can't screw anything onto the lens like you can with my Fujifilm camera, for example. You just have to rely on these magnetic small little ND filters, and they're fine, they do the job, but like they're kind of finicky to manipulate when you're trying to like adjust them to the specific lighting situation that you're in. And it does make it a little bit trickier when you're on the go, like say I'm on holiday and I'm trying to like vlog my holiday. It's a little bit more finicky to adjust. Since it is only a 1-inch sensor, it does struggle in low light conditions. It's not as powerful and it cannot do as much given how small it is and how small the sensor is. Other than that, it is great, and I don't think I would ever stop using this camera. I think it's got so many great features. The only thing that I think is a little bit annoying is that it only films in 4K when you're filming horizontal. If you want to film vertical, it will reduce it to 3K because it's a vertical crop. But what I do to cheat the system is I mount it onto my tripod and then turn it on its side so that it's essentially filming in the horizontal mode, but I've made it vertical so that I can get 4K vertical footage. Overall, I really do love this camera. I definitely think it was worth the money. I've gotten a lot of use out of it. And I think it's great if you're just wanting to start out with vlogging. I do think I kind of want to graduate from this camera at some point, just in terms of like, I kind of want something more professional, like a Sony camera. Yeah, I love a Sony camera. Moving on to the next camera. So this is my Canon ixus 105. It is a cute pink digicam. I wanted a cute pink digicam and I got this a couple of years ago off of eBay back in 2024. I got lucky with this because this model was reselling for around 200 to 300 pounds, but I got lucky and I got this for about 60 quid. I've decorated it with little gems and got a pink wrist strap to match the pink body of the camera. The flash, I gotta say, the flash is quite impressive for such a small build. I like to turn on forced flash for every single photo. It just results in these buttery smooth photos and it makes your skin look really nice and glowy. This camera is brown girly approved, okay? A lot of cameras, especially older cameras, don't really know what to do with brown skin tones. They're just like, eh. A lot of old cameras tend to either wash out brown skin tones or highlight them in an unflattering way. This camera makes my skin look buttery smooth, so yeah, I love it. Obviously the footage is not great quality, but it does give that early 2000s vintage aesthetic if that's what you're going for. It's really great and convenient to chuck in your bag if you're going clubbing or going to a concert. I have taken this to a concert. I took it to the Kendrick and SZA concert because the stadium had regulations about what cameras you can bring in. I couldn't bring my Fujifilm in because it had a detachable lens, and obviously this doesn't, so I went with this. And yeah, it's just a fun little camera. I would recommend getting a digicam. They're quite cheap to buy secondhand, and they're just a bit of fun, you know. They're fun and convenient cameras to chuck in your bag and go about your day capturing stuff with. So that is my pink digicam, which I love so much. Next camera is my Canon G7X Mark II. This was the quintessential vlogging camera of the 2010s. Every single YouTuber had this camera and we're using it for vlogging. I got this as a birthday present from my parents back in 2017, and I think they got it for around £500. The reselling prices on this right now are like over £1,000, like it's insane. I think because it's had a kind of resurgence on TikTok as of late for its photo quality, which I think is justified because the photo quality on this camera is great. I think obviously it was famed for its video quality back in the day, but now the photo quality is getting some love too. I especially think the photos are great when you have the flash on. This also has a very satisfying pop-out flash. It's just so much fun. I will say though, this cannot compete with my Fujifilm camera. Like, I'm sorry, but Fujifilm is just a head and shoulders above this camera. I took it with me to Japan and my boyfriend took some photos on it whilst I was taking photos with the Fujifilm camera, and you can definitely tell the difference. It's still great, don't get me wrong, but I have found that taking flash photography with this camera is a lot more, I guess, finicky, because with my Fujifilm camera, the quality of the photos is great, it doesn't wash my skin out. But with this camera, I feel like I have to adjust the white balance settings back and forth. So if I'm taking a photo with flash, I have to adjust the white balance settings so that it doesn't wash my skin out. And then if I want to go back to taking a photo without flash, then I have to switch back the white balance settings. So it is a little bit finicky back and forth. That's the only thing I will say about the photos on this camera. I think the quality is great. You can get some really nice, gorgeous photos with this. This was actually my go-to camera before my current Fujifilm and Osmo Pocket 3 setup. And it also has a flip out screen, which I think is so great, so convenient. More cameras should do this. I guess it's more of a prominent thing with cameras that are made primarily for video to have a pop out screen, but I just think it's great and so much fun. Even for cameras that are primarily focused on photography, I think it's a great addition. Honestly, I don't use this as much anymore since I have my other cameras in my collection, but I do give this to my boyfriend whenever he goes on holiday, or if I need a B cam, it's this. And finally, we have my film camera. This is the Kodak Ektar H3.5 half-frame film camera. I got this a few years ago. This was when I was just starting to properly get into photography, film photography specifically. I didn't really know much about it at the time, but I wanted to kind of dip my toes into it, dabble in it a little bit. I love this color. It's like a green color, and it also has a built-in flash, which you need to put batteries in it for. And yeah, it's very lightweight. It's definitely made of plastic, but it is a great budget-friendly option if you're just trying to get into film photography. The reason I got this model specifically is because it's a half-frame film camera. Instead of shooting horizontal photos, you shoot vertical photos. When you put your eye up to the viewfinder, you can see that it's got black bars on the side to kind of frame your vertical photo. And obviously this is appealing for many reasons. One, vertical photos are the photos that most people use on social media, and two, you get double the photos per film roll. If you're taking standard landscape film photos, you will only be able to get around, let's say, 36 photos per roll of film, and then you'd have to go and get it developed. Whereas since this is a half-frame film camera, each photo is taken vertically and it only takes up half the space that a landscape photo would. And because of that, instead of getting 36 photos per roll of film, you end up with around 72 photos per roll of film, which is great. It's a great kind of budget-friendly option. Developing film is expensive. It's an expensive hobby, so that's why I decided to go with this. This was great for when I was just starting out, but admittedly, I don't really use this much anymore. I've got loads of rolls of film just kind of sitting in our freezer right now. I honestly think I'm ready to graduate to a manual film camera, just because I have a lot more knowledge now of photography. I did a photography course. I know how to work a camera manually. They used to be kind of scary and intimidating to me before, but now I'm like, no, I could do that. I reckon I could do that. And it would be a fun way to use up all the film that I've currently got in my freezer right now. I definitely think I'll try and get a manual film camera secondhand someday. This is still great though if you're starting out and you just want something low cost, low commitment, and just something to have fun with, play around with. It's obviously a point and shoot, so you can't really control the exposure that much. So I do find that it does look a bit washed out, but that is kind of like the old vintage aesthetic. It's just about what kind of look you're going for. That is the last camera in my collection. In terms of future cameras that I want to acquire, obviously I mentioned that I want a Sony camera. I would love a Sony a7C II with the Sony G Master f1.4 24mm lens. Like, that is the setup I want. I know it off the dome because I've done so much research. I just think Sony footage, color graded, just looks stunning, and I'd love to get the chance to have a go at it myself. Yeah, I really want to be a Sony girl. There are so many Sony boys on the internet right now, but I want to be a Sony girl, okay? My wallet doesn't want me to be a Sony girl, but I want to be a Sony girl. That is number one on my camera wish list. As I said, maybe potentially a manual film camera of some kind. I was also thinking of another digicam, but the problem is that a lot of these older models are like so hard to get your hands on, especially like the ones with certain limited edition builds. I have had my eye on the Leica Deluxe cameras. I think they're quite cool as like cute little digicams that you can throw in your bag and carry around with you. I would love one of those, but I don't know if it's possible for me to get one of them. So that's that for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I think I've got pretty much a camera for each use case now. So I don't need more cameras, but I just love cameras, so I will continue to acquire them throughout my life probably. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!